Hip hop radio lives again.
You are now entering
DNA.
Live from the legendary Patchwork Studio, core DJ Wildchild, DNA Miss Niko.
Hello.
Shout out to the homie Ron, the DJ on the 1 and 2.
Yes, sir.
DJ C-Real on deck. Shout out to everybody across the globe locked in. Switzerland is locked in. The UK is locked in heavy. London, the whole DMV area, Washington, D.C., of course. Atlanta, Georgia is locked in. Oklahoma, Wichita, Kansas, Pittsburgh, Philly, York, PA, New York City. And the list goes on
Mars,
and on and on.
Venus, Jupiter, everybody tuned in today.
Mars.
And today I am the man sitting next to the man.
Yeah, man.
We have the man himself in the building.
The man is here.
That's what they say.
He been here.
So yeah, man. Like we just gonna like there's so many different ways we could start off, but this guy is instrumental with a lot of the backbone of what goes on in the city of Atlanta and the music industry as a whole. With the music, he's one of the owners. Or the owner of Patchwork Studio, amongst a million other jobs that he has. So, man.
Keep
Mr. Curtis Daniel.
Do the honors of introducing yourself, brother, because I feel like I've never met you before.
Nah, you did it right, man. I'm one of it's two of us that own the studio. This year makes our 21st year in July. We hit 21 years.
Wow.
If we were to count the time when we started our label, a lot of people don't, I guess they get it twisted. When we originally started, it was two companies. We had Patchwerk Recordings, which was our record label, started in 93 with Raz, Paz, Mean Green, and Voodoo. And then 2 years later, after I graduated from college, Michigan State, Spartan Dogs, we opened up Patchwerk Recording Studios. So as far as the time, I just count the time that we had the studio. So 21 years for the studio. It would have been, I guess, 23 years from the time we opened up our record label in 93.
Okay.
But yeah, under the same management, I started out managing the studio. Bob Whitfield owned the studio. And after about 7 to 8 years, me and one of the engineers ended up have to buy the studio from Bob. And I say had to because he went through the public messy divorce, and messy divorce was causing problems around here. So we had to buy the studio so we could celebrate our 21st anniversary. So
you had to step up and take it over.
Yes. So we've been owning the studio, I guess, now for about 9 or 11 years. I can't even really count. They just always say all the days the same around here, man. Monday through Sunday, the day come up the same and go down the same. So we never can tell what day of the week it is. But yeah, we've been there for a minute.
And as Miss Niko said, we're sitting next to the man. We're the men and woman behind the man right now, beside the man right now. He goes by the name Curtis Daniel because you didn't give me your name, Kurt.
I'm
but
sorry.
He's so used to not talking enough because he does everything else. So I get it.
That's what it is.
I get it. But you say you went from you were born in California?
Yeah, I'm from Carson, so it's right next to Long Beach, in Southern California.
Okay, and then you went to Michigan State.
Michigan State on a football scholarship.
And then how did you make that transition from Michigan to coming to
the first couple years, my parents used to fly me to come home all the time, and then after about 3 years, they would make me pay for it. And after the third or fourth year, Bob got drafted by the Falcons, and I messed around and came up here for the Freaknik, man. I'm here because of the Freaknik. Yeah.
Freaknik. 93.
Yeah, it was a little bit easier to fly from Michigan to Atlanta than it was to LA. So instead of going home, whenever I would have spring break, or if it wasn't Christmas, I would go home. But all the other breaks that we had, I would come to Atlanta. And
so the Freaknik got you stuck here.
Yeah, Freaknik, definitely. The real Freaknik. The Freaknik, the one we was on 10th Street. And Bad Boy drove up with the motorcycles at Piedmont Park and Tribe Called Quest. The real Freaknik, they got everybody here.
Not the late 90s Freaknik.
Yeah, not the traffic jam, the real one when the girls was hanging out the windows and everything, man. It was good. In my mind, it was like going from LA, it was real diverse, and then going to Michigan State, we had 43,000 students. I always tell people we had a lot of black students when you just think about them, but compared to the number of white students, we were the minority.
Right.
And then when I would come down there to Atlanta, I would be tripping because I'd be like, man, our flight attendants was black, the police chief is black, they got about 6 black radio stations. And when you out here in the middle of the day, it's black people driving nice cars, just getting it. And I kept saying to myself, why would I want to go back home or go to Michigan? It was cold in Michigan, so I figured I would come here. And ironically, really, the backstory was like, I'm the one that I thought Raz was the most talented rapper I had ever heard. And I told Bob that one of the homeboys was rapping.
Talking about Outkast?
Yeah, and
Okay.
And basically Bob had a bunch of equipment and he sent it to Raz to rap. And originally my job was gonna be to manage Raz because they
Okay.
had to find something for me to do. But I remember Raz, I mean, I hate to say it, but he was like, man, he went with Crowbar Management at the time, which was Coolio and them. And he was like, you don't know, no disrespect because we grew up. He's like, you just don't know the industry, so I need somebody that know it. So literally the studio job was something they had to find for me to do. They just threw me the studio because they had to find something for me to do after I graduated because I'm kind of one that kind of got us into this mess. And so BJ had went to Stanford with Bob and he was running the record label. And Bob had the studio for a year or two before I got here, but they had never done any sessions. We didn't have our logos. We didn't have speakers. So literally when I got here, he was just like, you gonna run the studio. And they gave me a book and said, figure it out. And I remember after the first week, he told me he wanted to meet with me. And I was like, shit, man, he about to send me back home. And he came up in there and he was like, you're doing a good job. Here go the keys. I'm gone. And literally I had to figure it out. And I think that's kind of like why we strong today because nobody in Atlanta would help me. I mean, I tried to call other studio owners, try to figure out rates, how they charge sessions. Literally, I'm not gonna name them,
Right.
but Atlanta's really clicked out and they wouldn't help.
You know what? It's funny you said that because I was actually because we got so much history right here to talk about. And I have a lot of questions, but I wanted to ask you about the studio situation. Like 21 years, you said,
Right.
And y'all have worked with the best of the best, the known of the known, as well as some of the unknown. I'm sure, and people that have never hit the day of light also. Now, you have all these other studios out there now. I know Mean Streets Studio with Drama and Street Execs and all these other studios in Atlanta. How do you guys, well, outside of this, well, I mean, if you haven't been to this motherfucker, this shit's like $1 billion facility. But outside that, how do you guys manage to stay ahead of everyone else in the industry that, like, is it like, do you look at it like just their pop-up studios?
No, what it is that it's a couple of things. The biggest thing from us from day one is like as real as I can tell you is that I always tell people we never sold studio time.
Okay.
And it was so real. I had read a book, How to Win Customers and Keep Them for Life, that I wouldn't hire anyone until they took my test. I literally wrote a test from that book. So we never sold studio time. We still don't. If you ask anybody that worked here, they'll tell you we sell customer service. So that was the first thing, because I always said that anybody can go buy a $1.3 million board, spend $76,000 on speakers, put a pretty girl at the front and try to copy us. But the difference was we were selling customer service.
Right.
And then the other big difference is that every studio that you just named, it belongs to somebody.
Right.
So, if you're another artist, you don't want to go to Atlantic or Mean Street Studio because it belongs to Atlantic.
Right.
If you're another producer, you may not want to go to Dart because it belongs to Dallas,
Right.
or you don't want to go to So Def, or you don't want to go to Stankonia as another artist because you really trying to be in competition with other artists.
Right.
We were one of the first places that was just 100% commercial facility where I always tell people we never got any money. We didn't cheat. We didn't get any money from the record label. All these other places were either started by a producer or an artist, or they got some funding from a record label. Bob paid for the studio. So we always started off as everybody in Atlanta feels like it's their studio. That's why when you do the show here, people are usually cool to come here because they come here anyway. We belong to Atlanta. We don't belong to a clique. So those are the kind of like
in a nutshell, when the checks come in, the checks go to the house, not to another person.
Yeah, I mean, we didn't cheat. So hip hop is about
You earned your keep pretty
a
much.
turntable and the microphone and making something from nothing. We didn't cheat. We didn't get anything from anybody. We got our own. I mean, we got real loans from real banks. We got real credit. We did it from the ground up. So we never cheated. That's why we won't blow away. Like I always tell people, we literally planted the seed in the ground and the roots dug in the ground first. So a lot of people go buy a full-grown fruit tree and put it in the ground. And the first storm that come by, it blow all the fruit off and the tree dies.
Right.
We dug in the ground, so we ain't really going nowhere.
Yeah.
So with the process of building that, like, what would, and you've been doing it for a while now, but what would you say is the main thing that you learned throughout the process that has stayed with you and stayed with the studio and with the business?
Just don't cheat. Like I always tell people, we literally, if you can go to somebody's house and it may look clean, you pull the refrigerator out, it look crazy behind it, or you open the drawers. We literally
50 miles
did,
behind.
yeah, we literally did everything and didn't cheat. And we were trying to, we were at the point where we were in a small house and all we did was record, and we just all our clients kept saying, man, I wish you guys would build a room where we can mix so we don't have to go to New York or LA. I wish Atlanta had a world-class facility so we don't have to leave. And we built that room for them. And that's kind of like what changed stuff. If you look, I mean, we weren't here for the first Outkast album, but our first session was ever. We did Elevators. We worked on that album.
Oh, wow.
We shot, if you go back and look at the original, Soul Food video, any shots in the studio, that was our studio.
Right.
And so Atlanta always had the talent, just like a lot of other cities now, but they didn't have the infrastructure, and we didn't have a studio that belonged to us.
Right.
It's a rock and roll studio, and they ain't really comfortable with you in here and all your homeboys. We kind of created that for Atlanta. And so this music thing is like, if it's real, you got to be in an atmosphere where you feel comfortable enough to bare your soul.
Right.
And we built that facility for people in Atlanta where they looked at us and we looked like them. And when they went to their shows, we was in the front row. And when their albums came out, and we bought it. And when their cousins needed a job, we employed them.
Mm-hmm.
It was us. It was real. It wasn't a gimmick. It wasn't like you spend money here and that money leave the hip hop arena. Our money went back here. We the ones that gave all these people interns. I'm the one that looked at the people that was messing up, and I knew that other people would follow them, fire them. But if I got rid of them, where else they gonna go? Because it ain't no other black studio owners around here.
Right.
So you kind of gotta nurture these people and help them grow and pull them to the side and talk to them. So our shit is just real. Like that's the realest thing I can say. It ain't a gimmick. I mean, I didn't ask y'all for no prep questions.
Right.
I ain't gonna lie, so I can say what it is. So it's like the team takes on the personality of the head coach, and I'm the head coach, and I don't do gimmicks. You know what I mean? So we real. All the people that work here real. We care about your music more than you do. Our engineers worried about their name being on some shit that don't sound right. So we literally, you may not care. You may come in here high and drunk and doing all this other stuff, but we making sure the details is getting taken care of, and it shows in the work.
Right.
Yeah.
Hey, that I've been fortunate enough to be around Patchwork since back in the day when y'all was up the street.
Oh.
And then y'all moved here, and now y'all built, onto this. So do y'all plan on expanding any further, or possibly?
When Bob wanted to do, he wanted to, at one point we were looking at Miami, New York, and LA. And, and my thing was like, I'm cool with growth, but I always believe in smart growth.
Right.
And what I was telling him is like, what I'm supposed to be flying to New York, Miami, and LA, I would rather just do another facility here in Atlanta, where if it's right up the street, I can manage both of them, but we don't incur a cost of another studio manager.
Right.
I can have my same engineers working at another facility and stuff like that. But I mean, if we did anything else, it would be here in Atlanta. But we still, working with what we got here. I'm happy with what we doing here.
And y'all are one of the number one studios here. Like anybody that you ask, if they ask what's the name 3 top studios in Atlanta, Patchwork is always going to be in that top 3. And excuse me, with that
only time people don't work here is if they owe me money.
No, I mean just for people to record.
Because the funniest thing is, like, I'll see people and they'll have a conversation like they don't go there or whatever. The realest thing I can tell you is if they ain't working here, it ain't because they don't want to be here.
Right.
They probably owe me some money. And as an artist or a producer, you're not gonna be honest. You ain't gonna tell nobody like I ain't fucking with Kirk now because I owe him some money or I can't afford it. You gonna make some shit up,
right?
And people gonna know you lying. It's like, why ain't you working? Ah, man, they engineers. Get out of here.
Right.
I mean, we can. All them cities that you name that we listed in, I can name is that many people that probably,
right.
That probably would rather be here, but either they owe some money or they can't afford to work here or whatever. You know what I mean?
How do you go about like picking your engineers? Because I know Mike been down forever. He's one of the best engineers.
Yeah, well, the funniest thing you asked that when we started, engineers used to be independent contractors. So basically when the session went down, the studio would get a PO for the studio time and the engineer would be left out there to get a PO from the label or get paid from the producer or the artist. Once we started doing it, I looked around and been like, these the most valuable people in the recording process is the engineers. Right. So we flipped it and I employed engineers, and that was the first time where they was getting taxes taken out of their checks, getting on payroll, getting W-2s instead of 1099. So if you look at it, like all these people, engineers, came through here because we built around customer service and the engineers. So we was the first one to start including engineers in studio time, billing for engineers, scheduling engineers, and doing all that stuff. I just saw the value in them. But now all of our engineers come through our intern program, every last one of them.
Okay.
Wow. They
go through our intern program, and then they go to assisting, and then from assisting they go to tracking, and then hopefully they get to mixing, and then if some of them want to produce and don't want to do that no more, they'll do that. But yeah, we get them from the biggest thing. Like I can tell you, like some of the realest stuff is that I never hired anybody in the office that worked anywhere else because I didn't want anybody coming in here with any baggage. And I've noticed I'm a good judge of character, one, and then I don't mind training people. It'll literally take 8 to 9 months to train somebody to work in the office, but I don't mind doing it. And I noticed all the other people, they just pick our people from here because they don't want to put that work in to train them. They don't want to give them the infrastructure. So I don't have a problem. So we can take an engineer, as long as they got the book smarts and graduated from school, then we can bring them all the way along the line. I can take somebody that it's more important for me, not where you worked at and who you work with. Are you a good person? So my biggest thing is getting the right person on the bus. So the first thing I want to do is, I always tell people, we can all, if we on a bus with people we don't like, it don't matter if we was going to see Jesus, it would be a terrible trip. Right. If we on the bus with, think about it, if you on the bus with all your girls, you can sit in the parking lot and have the best time in your life. So the most important thing to me is the people. Right. All I care about is like, okay, you got the qualifications. So that demonstrates to me, because I graduated from college, that one, you had a lot of opportunities to quit school. You stuck with it. You followed the program. You met your goal. So you got something to you. Now, if you're a good person, I feel like that we got enough good people here that can teach you how to get to where you need to go. So the most important thing to me is, are they good people? And then let's get a whole bunch of good people on the bus, and who cares what we doing? If they all good people, we gonna figure it out. Right. So that's kind of like what I look for in people.
So what's the criteria though when you're picking those interns?
I don't even deal with it because I used to get tricked. All the interns I thought was incredible. They would come in my office, empty my trash, wipe off my computer. I'd like the dude, and then our engineers be like, he don't know shit. And so what I would have to do is I turned over the intern program to one of our engineers who can actually judge those people. And so my style here, as I always say, is not to cut people's feet off. Right. So our engineers just engineer. Like we got engineers that only assist, some that only track, only mix. We got girls that only work at the front desk, a mastering engineer that only master. I keep saying they're good people. We just have to put them in the position where they can excel. So usually when something goes wrong here, the first thing I do is look at myself and say, did I teach them or train them or give them the opportunity to be successful? If I say yeah, and they've demonstrated that they know how to do it, then now I'm looking at you. It's like, okay, either you don't care or you don't know. But if you demonstrated that you did it over a bunch of time, now I'm looking at it like if you don't care. And when we get to the point that you don't care, you can't work here anymore.
Right. I understand. Now I know y'all probably get like a lot of people calling up, maybe sliding you mixtapes and stuff, just new artists trying to get on. Like how do you handle that? Or do you even get that? We're not a record label, and we're not a production company, and we're not a management company. So like I tell people,
if I think you were the best artist on earth, there's nothing that I can do with it.
Right.
I mean, we're here to help you from the point of recording, mixing, mastering, the admin services that labels used to provide to worldwide digital distribution, and actually monetizing all of your stuff. I feel like if people spend money with me, I should be able to help them recoup the money that they spent here making their product and make some, and then they'll come back.
Right.
So that's what we about. We about making money, helping the artists make the money so that they can keep doing this. And that's why a lot of people come here, because they get back what they spent here, and then they can hear the difference in the quality of the music.
Oh yeah.
And my biggest thing from that bad experience is, like, even when we were in the house, I always said that, hey, one day everybody gonna look at me and I'm sharing all the damn information, because I feel like if we have more than one world-class facility here in Atlanta, it makes the state and the city better.
Right.
So for me, if you going into other studios, you'll probably see our session report, but they just put tape over the logo and put theirs on it because I gave it to them. When they building a new studio, I let them come in here and look around. I talk to their people. I help them. I tell them who we bought our equipment with, who do our insurance, who clean the building, what bank we go with. I'm sharing all that information because I think it makes Atlanta better. Whereas when we were trying to come in,
Yeah,
it was just clicked out. And I always said, if we become a studio that everybody looks at, I'm changing all that shit.
Yeah.
We're going to take care of the engineers. We're going to have good people working here, and we're going to share the information with other studios that are trying to be great.
Right.
So you know, yeah.
So pretty much, you are the blueprint.
I ain't saying that, but I mean,
saying
you know,
it.
we you know, you're gonna see you. My thing is that, like, if you're first in class, people gonna think of you anyway. So if you were
Right.
sending something to my mom in California, you're not gonna say you're gonna overnight it. You just gonna say you're gonna FedEx it, even if you're using UPS or DHL.
Right.
So for me, I just look around. I'd be like, well, if they try to copy us, people gonna be thinking about us when they in the other place anyway. If they
Right.
put their logo on their drink machine, they gonna be like, oh, they got that from Patchwork.
Right.
If they you know, include the engineers and paying, they gonna be like, they got that from Patchwork. Oh, if they do this, you know what I mean? So
Right.
it doesn't make any sense just to try to stop it. You know what I mean? So people, I just share the information. They gonna try to take it anyway.
Right.
Let me ask you it's like a twofold question here now. Like I've been running around the business doing stuff for about 20 years, and you said 21 years for Patchwork, right? And we spoke about the hiring process and everything, but within the time that you've been in the industry, what's different, one, with the artists from when you started doing it to the artists now, and two, with the people that you're hiring to the people that get hired now in the hiring process, as far as the people
Right.
that are coming in?
All right, so they'll know how to work the console, because that's what gives us that sound. Our
Right.
engineers still mix on that board.
Right.
You ain't gonna get that sound just mixing in Pro Tools.
That's
you know what I
right.
mean?
You're
So
right.
so for us, it's the older interns. I had to push them to go. Like, they would intern for 6 months, 12 months, and I would be like, you ready? You need to do this session. And they would turn it down. And then they would tell clients, I'm not a mix engineer. You need to go to this guy. I'm not a tracking engineer now. The new people come in, think they can mix. They come in here, think they can do everything, and then y'all book a session. I say, I need you to send an MP3 out of what they do, and they don't even know how to upload something on SendSpace.
Wow.
So the older people, they was more cautious because they didn't want to get a rep. Like I said, if I put you on this Gucci session and you erase his vocals, he gonna tell everybody you ain't gonna never be able to work no more. So they would be conscious of that.
Right.
The new people come in here telling me that they ready,
But they don't
and
care either.
They don't know how to do shit.
Yeah, they don't know how to do shit, and they don't care, though.
Yeah.
I mean,
they don't.
what's your thoughts on that, though?
It's a combination of both. And then but that's what I'm here for, to sit them down and say, look, man, you really don't, okay, you think you ready? Okay, well, you know what? I'm gonna go in the vocal booth, pull me up on channel 9, hook up this other microphone, and I want to play drums. And then they be humbled. Or they get in here with another engineer, and I'm like, look, you just started. This dude engineered, he interned for a year and a half. You need to talk to him. You know what I mean? And so it's just kind of like, I ain't trying to throw him away.
I got you.
So, you know what I mean? So that's the difference with the employees that are coming in, is that they think they know more than they know, and they only know how to work a computer.
Right.
They don't know how to work none of this gear. They don't know how to patch nothing. They don't know how to do shit. And if it ain't set up from the last time that they came here, they can't figure. So for me, I'm looking for, like, even when I train people, I tell them, look, man, I'm gonna need you to deduce shit. And I'm gonna tell you, like, look, my style is I'm not a double yellow line on the street. The double yellow line mean don't never cross it. I'm gonna be a white line. That means if it's 2 o'clock in the morning and the truck is in front of you and you feel like you can go around and go ahead and do it. So I need these people to think. So I never try to stifle them and their creativity and nothing like that. I always encourage them to fucking think. Like, I hate when you call a place and they be like, man, the manager ain't here, I can't tell you nothing.
Right.
I always tell them, I ain't gonna bust your ass for making a mistake. It's just a learning opportunity. So go ahead and use your mind and think. And that goes back again to knowing that I got a person that wants to be here. Their character is good. And if they know well, they'll do well. So I trust them and I let them go out there, and then we talk about it later, what decision they made. As far as the artists, it's just the lack of knowledge of their craft. They don't even understand the music industry that they want to be in. They don't understand. They don't even know how to make money. There's people rapping and they be like, I never got. How do you get money from being on the radio? So it's just the lack of knowledge of their craft. Like, you want to be a rapper. Back in the days, people would study rappers, go see what they do, figure out what it is, and then kind of do some homework to see, like, oh, you know, the firemen only make 30,000, the police make 80. I'd rather be a fireman. These people don't even know what it is. And so, like, that's the hard part about the business, is that before I used to just be able to book studio time. Now we spending 20 minutes just explaining what a tracked out beat is, right? And what's the difference between an MP3 and a WAV file, and what's a real session and what's a mix and a master. They don't even know what it is. Right. And so they getting taken advantage of because somebody else knows it and they have the talent, and they get them in here and they making a nice living off these people, and they don't even know what's going on.
So with that being said, what advice would you give both for those people trying to break into to any part of the industry?
Call us. Like, I mean, the realest thing I can say, we do workshop and anything that, if you ever look at anything that we do besides those things that I named that aren't recording, mixing, mastering, anything that we do outside of the regular core business is going to be educational. So we do workshops. We offer consultations at every level. Right. So if you're thinking about going to record, book a consultation and find out what recording is. If you need a mix consultation, and all I can say is just call up here. We ain't that tight. We 21 years, we ain't never had voicemail. Because we got somebody gonna answer the phone. I ain't got no voicemail. We gonna pick up the phone and talk to you. And if you want to come up here and you ain't intimidated, then we'll help you. You know what I mean? That's what we doing. So all these people that we got plaques on the wall for, Ludacris wasn't Ludacris when we worked with him. Right. You know, Jazzy wasn't Jazzy, Jeezy wasn't Jeezy, Lil Jon wasn't Little John, and we treated them like they were superstars, and they became that. So if the people are out there and they listening and they thinking about doing anything in the music industry, you know, recording, mixing, mastering, putting your stuff out, call us. Before you sign up with Empire, call me. You know what I mean? Before you do something, just call and get the information. It don't cost nothing to get the information. If you don't care, then just keep doing what you're doing. But if you're trying to figure something out, man, on our website, I set up a thing where it's just FAQs. And because I was doing it so much, I already know what people gonna ask. We just did about 30 videos that are less than 2 minutes. How do you book studio time? What's the difference between a producer? And you can just sit at home on the YouTube channel and watch them videos and get the information. Right. So, you know, we do a thing once a month too, where me and Mike come in. We used to. I got a baby, so I don't get to come. Where it just said, if you're a parent, if you're a manager, if you're an artist, if you're thinking of spending any money in the music industry, come up in here on Saturday from 10 to 12 for free. And I'm going to do the studio tour, and then Mike's going to do a demo and show you the difference and what to look for, just because so many people, I thought people was leaving the music industry because they was getting robbed and getting discouraged. And I'm like, it ain't that hard. We can record, mix, and master and put your song out everywhere in a day. And these people been like, man, I've been working on this for 6 months and ain't shit happening. So we actually what you looking for while you got robbed. Wow. You know what I mean? But people tell people don't call Patchwork. They don't open till 4. They charge $300 an hour. You can't afford to work there. So people are hesitant to call us because they see all of this. But we ain't like that. You know what I mean? Wow. I mean, that's why it's cool to work with y'all. Like, I mean, this was easy. It wasn't hard. It's like Danny used to work up here. He used to manage. Right. And, you know, so I know his character and I know what he doing. So if he's working on something, he been trained. Shit, he know how to identify talent in people and how to work on a team with people. So if he got a good team of good people, I don't have to meet y'all. He just say, I got my people. We gonna come up here. And I'm like, shit, good people, good business, good business. Shit, let's help each other grow. So when I look at what y'all doing, instead of calling him and seeing how I can take advantage or use what he's doing, I'm like, what do you need help with? And he like, what you need help with? And that's what I like to do. I like to look at other people that are trying to be great and figure out how the hell can I help them. You know what I mean?
We appreciate that, man. We definitely appreciate that. So let's talk history real quick. Like you just named off a lot of artists that y'all started with, and you said like they weren't who they are now when they came here.
Right.
I want you to give me, say, 5 artists and the ones that you were most impressed with from the beginning and the process that it took to get them to where they are.
I mean, that's hard, but I mean, we playing Gucci. What record is this? So Ice? We did this record, and this was the story behind this, and again, you can take this, apply this to a number of artists. So typically, a person that comes here, our new client is an artist that is talented. People like them. They like their songs, but they don't sound right sonically. So typically that's our new client. I already know you. So for Gucci, they had tried to put this song out. It was buzzing in the streets. People liked it. And the record label was like, the shit don't sound right. We need you to come back in here, recut your vocals, let them mix the record and put it out. And so that's what he fought it. And it wasn't until he came in that room over there and he checked that microphone that he realized that his homeboy studio didn't sound like ours. And that's why all of them albums, even if he was in Vegas or at somebody else's studio, he would come back here and recut his vocals because he liked the way we became a part of his sound. He liked the way his vocals sound.
Wow.
So you can take whether it is a Franchise Boys record, there's a ton of records that you guys may have heard in the streets, and then they got a deal and the records sound bigger and better. Shit, they probably brought it up here and we had to remix the record over for them. Right. So like his was a cool little story, and like even this last album, I always know it ain't about an instance. I already knew I was gonna get a call. Coach called me 2 weeks before he got out and told me what day he was coming out. We want to book both rooms. We're gonna put Mike Will in one room, Zaytoven in the other one. We want it for a month, and then the PO situation happened. He couldn't leave the house, so that's why we didn't do that record here. But it's been like that every time he go to jail. You know what I mean? And then the other one was cool. Like I liked the break between Tip's first album and the second album. The first album we did, and everybody was excited about it. They felt good about it, and then it didn't sell like it was supposed to. Right. And I always say the biggest thing that I was most proud of in that situation, Jason Jeter used to work here, and I was proud of the way that I've watched so many people that are friends go into business and do albums, and then they have success and they break up. I was proud of the fact that him and Tip didn't blame each other. Like the album didn't sell and they didn't look at each other and blame each other. They stayed together and was like, we believe in each other, and then they put the next one on, and it kind of took off. And then one of the guys, I think Kai was just here. Kai might have did their first video. He did. I was like, he need to get on there. But Kai used to work for me. He was a video director, and he did the Locked Up for Akon. And they told him that if this video don't pop off, we dropping this dude. And he did. So he did the first video for him and a couple other people. But those were two. And then the Outkast record was cool because the story behind that is when I got here, I kept saying, man, these dudes sold 3 million records on this.
Which record was
We
this?
worked on the second one, Elevators. Okay. That was the name of it? Well, with Elevators on it. I forgot. It was ATL. And so when we got here, I was like, man, don't nobody know us. We don't have no credibility and won't nobody talk to me. And I found out that Rico and them loved the Falcons. And I got a hold of Dee Dee, Hibbler, Peaches, and I told them I had tickets for everybody that wanted to go to the game. So they requested like 23 tickets. And she wanted to come pick them up. And I said, anybody going to the game got to come to the studio and do a tour first. So we had Outkast, we had Goody Mob, we had TLC, we had Society of Soul, we had Esperanza, we had everybody. Wow. 23 tickets. I made them come to here, do a tour. Some of them left their cars here. So after the game, they came back and started working here. And that's how we got our first client. And I was like, everybody that's looking to Atlanta is looking to see where Outkast records. So if we get on this album, we just got 3 million flyers around the world and we gonna be straight. So we got on that album, and then it went into, you know, to everything else. And then I'm talking about, I guess, I don't know what else, cool projects. I mean, it was cool. We did Ether here. Nas did his verse for Ether. What was cool about his sessions, and then we did the strings for that NIGGER record. He likes to work in our small room, but one time he left his rhyme book here, and and I picked it up.
Did you make a copy?
Man, they act like I be hoarding stuff, and my partner like to throw stuff away, so I can't find it. But it was, when I was looking at it, it was odd because I don't know if he was writing a movie, but the way he wrote, it was drawings and words, and it was really visual. So he was talking about like an opening scene to, I don't know if he was like, the sun goes up, the camera shoots from this angle, the lights fade black, the writing is white, the lady comes in for, it was just really like that detail, and it was a trip to be, because that's how his music comes out. Yeah. And you know, he was cool, and then doing Whitney Houston was cool. For me, E40 and Snoop and them, because I'm from LA, I really wanted to see E40 and Twista. I wanted to see if them motherfuckers really rap like that, and they do. Yeah. Like, I literally watched them go in that booth, and I'm like, is that shit finna come out his mouth? Or how is he punching that shit in, like, to do that shit? And them motherfuckers really do it. Right. And so those were some cool sessions, and just a lot. Like, to me, the biggest thing that's been cool is I look at people's first projects that we worked on that are huge, because that's the make or break for that artist. Their career could have went either one way. So the opportunity to do Sierra's first album, Ludacris' first 3 albums, T.I.'s first albums, Jeezy's first albums, the Lil Jon's, the Young Bloods, just all those first albums that catapulted people's careers, because I knew they were at the point where people liked them, people liked their music, but they were coming to us for a sound. So those are the things that are cool. And then the last thing, just I remember one time me and Bob was in, I think we was in Jamaica. We was actually in Barbados for 9/11 coming back, and we got stuck in Jamaica for a week. And I remember we was in a club, and I think I counted 13 records that they played in a row, and we had worked on 9 of them. And I was like, damn, this shit really went around the world. We in this little ass house doing these records, and they going around the world. And that was like kind of like a little epiphany to me, just to see that happen. You know what I mean? And then the last one, I remember we was doing T-Pain's record, and
the first one?
Yeah, okay. We did I'm Sprung, and Kai did that first video. And it was funny because, I mean, shit, they can say it now. They didn't want people to see T-Pain because, you know, you heard the record and all this stuff. And I remember they used to call me, and I was asking for these cookies, and they would tell us, don't bake T-Pain no cookies.
Damn.
And they had them,
don't give him no goddamn cookies.
T-Pain would call the studio before his session and be like, have me 3 dozen cookies ready. But they didn't want him eating them cookies, and they had him with a tray. So it was just funny. And then when that video came out, it was like the song was just a pretty song. Right. And I'm sitting here thinking, like, it's gonna be funny when, not like that, but it's gonna be funny when they see T-Pain. Because I don't think they put his image on the single. Right. Yeah, they just put the I'm Sprung record out there, and I was just like,
yeah, they just had the letters, and it was like a green background. I remember that shit vividly.
Yeah, I was like, wait till they see this cat. But you know, it is what it is.
Yeah. Now, do you have any more advice for up and coming artists? Specifically, that I know you mentioned something about people will say things about, you know, the cost of the studio and things like. I've actually had people ask me from out of town, just because I live in Atlanta. They're like, well, how much does it cost to go to Patchwerk? And I try to tell folks, man, you really get what you pay for. Right. You know what I'm saying? And that's even me speaking from personal experience, because I've gone to studios and paid and had music done and mixed and mastered, and it still sounds like trash.
Yeah, I just try to encourage people to call us. Like, I mean, you don't have to go through your homeboy or know somebody to talk to us. This is our business. It ain't a gimmick. We're not going to give them, you know, nothing that we ain't going to give you. So it's just like you got to get past that fear. Like, if this is something that you really want to know, like for me, I always tried to be the source. Like, I never asked nobody for nothing. Either I'm going to read the book or go read the article or something and try to be the source of the information. So we've seen people get scammed, you know, from these you know, hey, pay for this show and win studio time at Patchwerk. And we just be like, man, we out there. We got a website. We got an app. It's free. You can go on your app store and download the Patchwerk app. And we real people. There ain't no voicemail. We don't act funny. So anything that you want to know, even if you're not working here, I just encourage people to call us and talk to us. And then the realest thing you can do is admit that you don't know something, because then we can help you. So when I get on the phone and I just let people talk, I'll be like, well, you called me and you know everything. You know, shit, when you want me to talk, let me know. So it's like the realest thing I can say is, you know, call up here or come up here and gain the information before you spend $1. And that's why it'd be so many people trying to give me money. And I'd be like, well, let me explain this to you first so you'll have an understanding of it, so that way you can't get robbed. Even if you don't work here, get the information and apply it to where you want to go. But if you're a new artist, call up here. Don't go through your manager and your homeboy and your sister. Pick up the damn phone or stop up here and come up here and get the information that you're seeking. Like, even when I do stuff, I don't ever ask our employees to do anything that I wouldn't do on my own. Right. And one of the reasons why I think that we do well is because you can't really lie to me, because I already did everything. Right. Like, if I be like, man, go get that little scooper and pick up the trash in the back, you can't tell me it's broke, because I probably used it the day before. Right. And so all of the stuff, like all of these different things, like when we were doing the digital distribution, I had to learn how to do it first so I can train Toya and whoever else. So then when they tell me some bullshit, I'll be like, that ain't how it worked. So like for us, like it just literally ain't a gimmick. I was here to design this room, to tell them what light to put in. I know where the air conditioner is. I know where all the power switches is. So it ain't like we just got thrown into something. We literally designed it. This space that you sitting in was nothing. We spent $110,000 just on drawings, and it took us 9 months to get back the goddamn drawings. Wow. We didn't hit a screw in no wall before we settled on the drawings. Wow. You know what I mean? So it's just like, I would just say, man, the information is cool. And then, you know, for the young people with the talent, what I've been telling them is, you have the talent and you want somebody to invest in you. You have to be able to present to the investor a way that they're going to get their money back. Right. So they need to be able to recoup their money. And like, okay, we do a single deal here. You can come in here and get your song recorded, mixed, mastered, and we do all the paperwork and do the digital distribution for about $1,600. And then if you need a beat, we got producers that'll give you original tracked out beat for $500. So say $2,500. You just need to come up with a plan to tell anybody, your family member will give you $2,500 if they believe in you, but you have to be able to show them how are they going to get their money back. Right. And that's what I'm about. I'm going to show you how to make your money back so you can keep coming up here.
So in your opinion, because I feel like, just in my experience of working with a lot of artists over the years, and I hate to keep going back to it, but from before to now, I don't think that the artists understand the value of a lot of that. Right. How explain to them how important that value is.
I just tell people that anything that's counting, that you can click on, is counting for a reason. And you know, and like I tell people, I just be puzzled about some of these people where it could be, you know, you filming somebody got shot and you just give that away. Right. And I'm like, man, they're like, okay, well, you know, they put it on WorldStar, you gave it to them, and they got 3 million clicks. 3 million clicks generates about $7,000. So it's just like, people keep thinking that it's disposable, but somebody emailed me the other day. I think they told me Universal is making, between the 3 big labels, they're doing $10 million a day in streaming. I think it's 6, 3, and 2 or something, just in streaming. So the biggest thing is that you guys are content is king. You guys are creating the content, but you don't understand the value of that content, and you just giving it away. And then somebody else is making money off of your stuff. And it's just like, man, it really ain't that complicated. And my gift is that I can interpret, is what I say. I can't interpret Spanish, but I can read some book stuff and transfer it to nigga language. Right. Real. I can make you understand it in your term. Yeah, I can tell you, I can make you understand what I'm saying and actually see it and comprehend it. So like, a lot of times I just sat down and talked to these kids, and you know what an ISRC code is. I think it is, but tell me what it is, and they don't know. You know what a UPC code is? Nope, you don't know. You know what Nielsen is? You know what BDS is? You know what Media Base? Do you know that you can make money off your sound exchange page? Did you know you can? And none of them know that. And so the cool thing about me being me, I think people feel comfortable enough that I ain't gonna embarrass them to tell me what they don't know, and then I'll help them with it. You know what I mean? And so that's really what it's about. That's why we got so many like customers, because that's what we do. We do events that educate and empower musicians. That's the theme for I Do Music, is empowering musicians worldwide. So my thing is that I think if they know better, they'll do better. So if they don't know that it's a difference between our studio and this other studio, then they'll go to the other studio and they'll figure out when their music come out.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Sure right about that.
That's the craziest thing. I mean, you mentioned it earlier. Like you said, we have all the information out there. People just have to look for it and go for it. Isn't it crazy? Well, I know it's crazy to me, and don't you think it's crazy that now information is so much more accessible. Everything is so much accessible, but it seems like the consumer is so much less willing to go out and get it, or to look for it themselves, or to figure out.
They crippled because you ain't used to doing it no more. You'll walk around and spend an hour trying to find a remote control instead of just pushing the button. You don't remember your mom's phone number no more. I know my number from when we grew up. You know what I mean? We can't even remember. Can't even remember 3 things right, because it's kind of like at some point they want you to stop thinking, and as soon as you stop thinking, people take advantage of you. So I always look at it like I'll look at it and be like, man, Warren Buffett was smart. He told all these people if they pick a perfect bracket that he would give them $1 million. Well, shit, he just got 10 million people to send them their name, email address, phone number, and address, and they put the right stuff in there because they want to win that $1 million. Now he done took these 7 million people that signed up. Nobody picked the perfect bracket, and he probably reselling their information. You know what I mean? So it's just like, I just look at stuff like that and be like, where's the money going? So for us, like I keep saying, they can keep hyping you up and telling you they ain't selling as many CDs, but they making more money than they ever made before. And the craziest thing to me is when I look at it, like I'll tell people, be like, all right, Renika, is that what they call you on there?
Niko,
okay.
he's my government.
So sorry, but if you get a loan for your house for 30 years, after you pay the house off in 30 years, you own the house, right? Right. If you get a loan for your car and you finance it for 60 months, after 5 years, you pay it off, you own the car, right? Right. If you get a loan or an advancement for your record label of $200,000, they recoup their money back in 6 months. Nigga, you still don't own your music. Right. That's the craziest shit on earth. Right. For 30 years later, you done paid them back way more interest that they would have made off the house or your car, and you don't even own your shit. They loan you money, they call it advance, they give you the money, they pay for your shit, you pay them back plus $1 billion, and you still don't own your shit. That's the craziest thing on earth.
Wow. Now let me ask you.
Most ignorant shit on earth.
Yeah.
Sorry.
That's crazy. No, it is what it is. It's some real shit. But let me ask you your stance on this, because you mentioned people giving away content for free. Because I've had a lot of conversations, and I come from the mixtape game. What's your thoughts on, like you mentioned, artists like Gucci and Jeezy, even Tip, where they had these huge mixtapes that pretty much laid the foundation for their career in a sense. What's your thoughts on the artists doing the mixtapes and actually putting it out there?
I think that I don't think it's what people don't realize, that they are making money off of that stuff. So it's like what I keep telling people, as an artist, you can create this body of work, and the tools now, I can't say back then, but the tools now that people need to listen to your music and generate money, they already have them on their phone.
Right.
The people aren't going on SoundCloud looking for new artists. They're clicking on the link that you give them. Right. So if you have your music properly distributed off of all these internet accesses or digital downloads, you can point people to anything that they already using on their phone. They don't feel as if they're paying for it, but when they play your song on YouTube, you just made money. When they click your shit on Sound Exchange, you just made money. When they stream it on Apple Music, you just made money. So my thing is, why would you send them somewhere where it doesn't generate money? So if you are Gucci and you say you putting out a mixtape Well, it's gonna be over every single network, right?
Right.
And every time somebody play it, it's generating money from them. So was it free? It looked like it was free. We used the fool that thought it was free. They just made more money off of that because they didn't press up any cassettes.
Right.
They didn't
No
mail
CDs,
anything,
right.
no returns.
Right.
But they stuff, you look at it, they gonna give you one when he talking, and then they gonna put one up everywhere else. So you don't feel like you paying for it because you on Spotify, but you playing it and it's generating a royalty for these people.
Right.
So my thing is like we did E.T.'s album, Dr. Eric Thomas. I met him on the bus and he was telling me that he was doing these mixtapes where they would take his speeches and put music underneath it. And he was like, I didn't know him. He was like, man, we did like 250,000 downloads in a day. We crashed the server. I'm like, so I started looking at him and I said, man, ain't nobody listening to your speeches because you put it over this Wale beat. They listening to it because of you.
Right.
Here's what we need to do. You need to go get a producer that produce some real music for you and don't ever call this a mixtape again. We're going to call it an album.
Right.
We did over, I hate to tell us, we did over $200,000 in profits in a year off of that album that he was going to give away. He was going to give it away.
Wow.
The same amount of people got it, but it was on them different packs because they consuming it the way they consuming it. We just ignorant and don't know that when you got 1 million clicks on YouTube, it generates $1,000. It's the hustle. That's why I be like, you got to think about it. If it's the Breakfast Club, they got cameras now, right? And they got a YouTube channel.
Right.
Shit. And then you look on a video with Drake and Drake got 1 million hits. Well, shit, they just made $5,000 off that video. It didn't cost them nothing to put the camera up in the studio. So all of that content that they generated, and you watch an interview, it starts off, it's a 20-minute interview. At 10 minutes, a 30-second commercial run by that you can't fast forward. So they got money from the clicks and they got money from the advertising.
Right.
And then at the end, they're going to run the hair care commercial.
Right.
So
The
it's
hair
like,
imports, it's a hair import,
so my thing is,
Fuck
there's
that.
3 claims on that. You can claim the music, the beat, you can claim the visual,
Right.
and you can claim the lyrics. So I'll be like, when I tell Raz, I'm like, man, you on Sway's show, let him claim the music and the whatever, but you should at least go in and put a claim for your stuff. And they be so hesitant. And I'm like, it's not gonna change the video. People ain't gonna know. Like, they got the software. When he came in my office, we would pull up a video here, roll a mouse on it, and you would see who claimed what.
Right.
It'll be people on there with videos on their channels and commercials are playing and they never made no money and they wonder why, because Universal went in and put a claim on that Tupac music that's playing in the car in the background when the little kid is doing a flip.
Right. Right.
Kobe went in and put a claim on there because you showed his shoes or something. So the people that's really getting the money, they know how to do it. Before with YouTube, if I put your video up and you didn't prove it, you would make me take it down. Now they stay up and you can just come put a claim on my page. But you got to have a partner that knows how to do that. People think they monetizing their video and they be like, what we need you for? I said, that's cool. You monetized it on your page. But if 1,000 other people post it up, do you have the technology or know how to go put claims on all their videos? So they only making money on the content.
Right.
So they put it on their page, start running commercials on it. We went in the back end and claimed it, and all that money start coming to our client.
Oh wow.
And the video stay up.
See, that's
Wow.
news to me. I didn't know
Wow.
that was
Food
$2
for
million
thought.
worth of game, man. It's money being made. Like I keep saying,
Jewels, man,
if it got a counter on it, it's counting for some reason.
Right.
Well, I done had TuneCore claim my shit on my own songs, and I ain't really seen no money from TuneCore like that. So maybe that's what it is. Just other folks
We
coming
do
in
the
claiming
same
it.
thing TuneCore do, except, and we do the same thing that, what's the other places? TuneCore, CD Baby. The only difference here, you can walk and talk to us. You got to send an email, and you don't know who's working on your project. So we all pushing to the same stores. We all can submit your stuff to the hot list and get you on the top of iTunes. It's a process. You can't pay for that. So if anybody charging you for that, you're getting robbed. The only difference is we selling customer service. So you got a problem, you can drive down here or come up here and meet with us, and then we can show you what's going on with your project. Whereas with the other people,
Well, you
gotta
got to
submit
figure
a
it out.
claim.
Yeah,
You ain't gonna talk to nobody.
Man,
Yeah, so it's like, you get what you pay for.
That's
you
true.
know what I mean?
I think that's the most important thing for any artist that's listening. That right there, what he just said, you get what you pay for. That's so important.
Yeah, I always tell people, quit looking at the cost and look at the value.
Right, exactly.
So we would have, like, I remember when we was doing Alley Boy, and he really wanted to work here, and they wouldn't let him work here. And he would be like, man, Kurt, when I work at the other studio, and I can do 12 hours and I'll get 3 songs done, and then I got to come redo them over here. I can come here and work for 8 hours and get 5 songs done, and I ain't never got to do them over. It's what I tell the client is quit looking at the cost, look at the value. So if you take, you take the price for $800 for an 8-hour block, and if you divide that by 5 songs, it's cheaper to work here than if you took 8 hours, even though the price is cheaper, but the cost per song and the fact that you got to redo it over, or the fact that you always worried about what you did if the shit was done right. Peace of mind is priceless. So if you go somewhere and lay a verse down and you got to wonder if the engineer recorded your shit right and saved it right, man, it ain't worth it, the money that you save. So it's about value, not price. I always tell people we ain't the cheapest place, but we ain't the most expensive. But if we look at the value that you get, our value is greater than what you get somewhere else.
Wow. I got a few more questions. I know we got to get you out in a minute, but first question is, what's your, and this is kind of off topic in a sense, but like you mentioned, moving the mixtapes and putting out one version and then putting the other version out there for sale. But what's your view on the role of a DJ in this industry?
I think the DJ, shit, if you ain't got no relationship with the DJ, you might as well quit. I think that's what people's problem are, that they try to skip over these DJs. I mean, the work got to be done. You got to build a relationship with these people. And I think that they almost, the DJ is between, after the studio, between the radio station and the club is the DJ.
Right.
So it's like, man, it's people keep trying to skip over them, or I don't know what's going on with all these, coalitions or whatever or nothing. I don't know if people feel like they're not getting the value. I think that they are integral in the music industry. It's about communicating and letting people see what your value is and being able to explain it to people and just over delivering. But I think DJs, like I was just talking to somebody this morning, I'm like, look, man, you need to take that record to the club. You need to, you used to be in the streets and that's what you was known for, and you trying to go straight to the radio. You need to, man, just get with some of these. I said, there's nothing else that sound like this record, man. You need to start just playing it in the clubs and let it grow. But people, it take too long for them to do that, and they trying to skip over that. I just think that people are skipping a whole, it's still from E.T. He always say it take 21 years to be 21.
Yeah.
You can't go from 18 to 21. You can't skip over whatever. These do. It's a process to make a record. We got to do the process. Yeah, we got to do pre-production. We got to record it, mix it, master it. You can't master a song that wouldn't be mixed. Now these people want to get to the radio, and how have they been getting to the radio? The radio listen to what's hot in the clubs and what's hot in the streets, and who's making shit hot in the clubs and the streets is the damn DJs.
Right.
But people try to go straight from the studio to the radio, and that's why them records ain't timeless. I keep telling you before, people bought into an artist. If you like Sade or you like Stevie Wonder or Michael Jackson or Prince, it didn't matter what they put out. You was going to buy the album. Now people, the songs are bigger than the artist. They not, because the artists don't take pride in what they putting out, so people are suspect to it. They want to wait and see if they gonna do this 1 or 2 times or if there's some bullshit. So it's like now people just buying songs, they disposable songs, and people don't even know what the artists look like and who they are. You know what I mean? So it's, DJs are awesome.
What would you say?
Real DJs are awesome.
Real DJs.
Yeah, real DJs that can in my life, I wanted to be a DJ, and I thought when them CDJs came out, I was gonna be a DJ. So I went down there and bought 2 of them a week after they came out, and I still couldn't blend. I couldn't blend the fucking records. That's when I was like, I realized that it ain't the board, it's the person running the board. And I always say I have respect for people. So to me, playing records, I used to be able to play records. That's how I started. My homeboy was the DJ. Whenever he wanted to slow dance or dance, they let me play records. I can pick a good record, but shit, I'm stopping this motherfucker and playing this one. I can't blend it. I can't scratch. I can't do nothing. So to me, a real DJ is that's my favorite person in the music industry. I got one particular DJ that do everything for me. I'm gonna shout him out, DJ Herb. Thank you, brother. We just had a meeting. We was talking about y'all. If it's something that we, there's something they technically trying to see if we can do it, but that's how I like to be. I like to see people doing something
Right.
And then I'm not going to call them to be like, how can I take advantage of it or how can it benefit me? I'm going to call them and say, how can I help you do what you're doing a little bit better? So if there's anybody that, if you on the bullshit, you know, I'm going to call it when you come in. I'm like, man, get the fuck out of here. You know what I mean? I'm going to be honest with you. But if you literally try to do something and you're passionate about it and you want to do it the right way, then that's what I want to do. We started doing the thing. The last time y'all were here, we did the What You Working On Wednesdays.
Right.
All that was is it's a networking thing where I'm trying to get the right people in the room, figure out what the hell y'all working on, what you need help with, and what can y'all other people offer to these people.
Right.
And let's do something. You know what I mean? That's, you know, shit.
That's dope.
You know, that's what I'm about, man. It ain't really about, for me and us, it ain't about particular instances. It's just looking at the whole thing, and it's like a theme that runs through here. It's like, okay, we do it on our own. We become the experts. We show other people how to do it the proper way. We collaborate and work with other people, and let's make the industry better instead of just being selfish and taking shit from stuff. And that's like you know, Atlanta used to be, or was known for people working together. The realest thing I can say about Atlanta is like, man, don't nobody want to make you. So if you're trying to do something and you building it, ain't nobody gonna come help you do it. But when you get it up and the cameras come on, everybody want to come stand next to it or whatever. So it's kind of like you got to take that and get something to a certain point. And then, like I tell people, don't present people with ideas, present them with an opportunity. So let's set up the opportunity, and they all gonna come because they want to be a part of it. So we do this show, we set it up, we don't ask nobody for nothing, and then we invite people to be a part of it, and they got an opportunity to talk about what they going on a larger platform than they other would have had. You know what I mean?
Right.
So yeah, so it don't matter. Like that's why I was saying I wouldn't pick between a DJ, an artist, a manager, or whatever. Shit, it don't matter. If you good people,
as long as they're serious and ready to work.
You ain't about that bullshit, man. Yeah.
Gotcha. We talked about you developing the producers here and everything. So I know you're owner of the Talent Incubators and also majority owner of 510 1520.
Yeah,
so,
man, them old. But yeah, the Talent Incubators, again, it's like I'm sitting here and I'm looking at, one time I had a focus group, and I had about 15 people that I respected tell them what's wrong with us and what they don't like. And the bad part about it is everybody never tell me nothing wrong. Like when we did the 5K, I asked what's wrong. I'm looking for the critical thing. They told me the worst thing that I did that they can say about me is I'm too honest, and that you helped so many people out and it didn't benefit you. If you would have just taken a point from all them people that you helped out, you wouldn't even be worried about studio time. Right. If you would have, for what you did to Polo, one Polo, he was like, shit, I'd have gave you 15 points. What you did for Sean Garrett, what you did for Block, what you did for Jason, what you did for KP, what you did for Shaka, for Luda, all these different things. So they was like, if you would have just said, look, man, I'm fronting you this studio time. When you get your deal, pay me back. I'm not charging you no interest. Give me a point on this. Your life would be different. So then I said, okay, well, let's come up with this idea called the Talent Incubators, where we incubate talent, where we tell people, look, man, we're going to let you come in the studio and produce here or record here, and we're going to keep a tab on it. And then when you go out and get your situation, you're going to pay us back, and then we'll make a percentage of it. Right. I haven't gotten around to putting it all together, but that's the concept of it is, again, it's like, make it a fair deal. We're going to show you what we're doing. We're going to communicate our value. You don't have to wait to see it. It's measurable. Right. Give us our shit back, and then give me this for helping you out. So that's the idea behind the Talent Incubator. I stopped talking about it because every time I told everybody I wanted to do new producers, but all the established producers wanted to be a part of it, like from Polo to all these different people. And I'm like, man, I ain't. I'm about starting from new.
Y'all already good. We need to get this fresh blood in. Right. You mentioned Ether earlier. Mm-hmm. Did you guys did Nas work on other songs from that album here?
Yeah.
Did he do one mic here?
I don't know.
You don't remember?
Just remember that. You have to look at the credits.
Okay.
Well, they used to do credits, but he used to be here for like a couple of weeks at a time.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
I was going to ask if you remember the process of that record, because I worked that record. I remember radio thought that record would not work.
Yeah.
And that record went on to be a smash. But I just wanted to know the process. Like you mentioned the process. We got to find that book, though. I mean, I'll help you look for it. Okay, I'm going to help you look for that.
All right, if you come out with some fire lyrics, we gonna know where DNA got it from.
Exactly where
He
it's
did not
coming
come
from.
off the top with it.
But yeah, Kurt, like I know you gotta get out of here, man. Thank you for your time.
Absolutely.
A lot of jewels, a lot of knowledge, a lot of history. Is there anything before we let you go? Is there anything that you want the world to know that you haven't? I mean, you gave them so many jewels.
I mean, my thing is, like I always tell people, I ain't, my story is that like I played college football. I was good enough to get a scholarship at a Big Ten school and had offers all around the country. After I got injured, but after I graduated, I had always looked at the situation like in order to get these offers, I had to do what I had to do my whole life. I had to work out in the summer. I had to lift weights. I had to play my 12th grade year with my knee ligaments torn and didn't get the surgery till I got to school. So I had to do what I had to do. And once I graduated, I said, man, I want to take 2 years to do something that I want to do and chase a dream. And I was like, man, I just, my process is think of something that you would be willing to do for free. And I just love music. My mom, I always joke with my mom's name is Mahalia. So with mama named Mahalia, we was listening to music while we cleaning up and everything. So I just love music. When we was in school, I remember my DB coach used to always tell us to visualize. He'd be like, when you go to bed at night, dream about yourself making that interception, making that tackle. And I used to be like, shit, I'm dreaming about girls, but the only thing I had dreams about was music. Music excited me. Yeah. I just was passionate about it. I just love dope MCs and rappers, and I always liked. What I don't like about today is that everybody sound the same. I like
no
if I got about 120 K-Stain CDs. I got about 15 of them. But what I like, I like Smith and Wesson because they sound like they from New York.
Right.
You know what I mean? Then I like Spice One because he sound like he from whatever. I like such and such because he sound like he from the Midwest. So I love. I be waiting on New York niggas to just snap and do what
like
we
look.
Niggas, we like that over a New York beat. We looking for that. But I just encourage people, even with our employees, to just chase your dream. Give yourself an honest amount of time where you actually had the opportunity to be successful. And like I tell people, you don't want to feel like you could have threw the rock further. Right. Throw the rock, throw your arm out. And for me, I was like, okay, I'm gonna give myself 2 years. So I was working about 16 hours a day, every day. And I was living at Bob. So people talked about me because I went from living by myself in college to working for my homeboy, living in his house, getting paid $500 when he wanted to pay me. Not monthly, not weekly, whenever he was like, nigga, here goes some money. And so all my friends that graduated, they came out working at the car plants, making $30,000, $40,000 a year. I'm down here. And then as the time went by, it started going like this. And I started hearing people say, man, you lucky. You get to do what you want to do. You work at the studio, you making this money and all this stuff. So all I would do is encourage people that if they got a dream, to give it an opportunity to be successful and stay away from people that's killing dreams.
That's right.
And the people that's killing dreams are the people out there stealing your money, stealing your content and robbing you and not giving you the information. If you got a dream and you trying to get it, man, find us. We at patchwerk.com. The app is free. Patchwerk Recording Studios. Danny did the app for us. And just call up here, 404-874-9880. If you for real about it, we can talk and try to point you in the right direction. We ain't gonna do it for you, but we can tell you how to get it done. So yeah, just dream big and chase your dreams and give it an opportunity to manifest itself. Be around for the blessings. Right. I always tell people that we probably could have closed. Well, actually, Bob probably tried to close the studio at least 40 times within the first 3 years. Wow. And we around for our blessings now. You know what I mean?
Good shit. Good shit. Oh, you gave him everything else. Give him the social media also.
At Patchwork Studios on Instagram and Facebook. Do the app, man. The app is literally, it's gonna get you right to us, man. If you just go to your store where you get your apps and download the app, and it's gonna plug you right into us. And that's the best way, or just call us.
And that's Patchwork with an E.
Yeah,
work with an E, not an O.
WERK, yep.
Yep, that's
putting in work for the Patch. So we from the Patch in California, the Cabbage Patch Gangsters.
The Cabbage Patch Gangsters. Okay,
like that.
CPG. This is big to me because I I always think people joking with me when they say boss, because I always dismiss that title. I tell people bosses boss people around. They tell people what to do. Leaders ask people to do things and they show them the way. I consider myself, I'm not it's the, I know you know, but it's the most insulting thing that somebody can say. Yeah, it's cool that they can say to me is to call me a boss, because I don't even have people that work for me. We all co-workers. And so I want to be known as a leader. I want to lead and get you to do stuff by showing you the proper way to do it, explaining it to you. So that boss shit to me is like, I don't boss nobody around. Nobody here, none of our engineers have ever been under contract. People will tell you now, if you don't want to come to work here, I'll just tell you don't come to work, because I don't want you here if you don't want to be here. We got other people want to be here. So all the people out there that's claiming to be a boss, they ain't really, don't nobody follow bosses. They just tolerate them. If you want people to follow you and work with you and you want to be great, then you need to be a leader and quit trying to be a boss. That boss shit, don't nobody want no boss.
That's real shit.
Sorry.
Apologies.
Dropping that real and that should let y'all know how anybody, I know you said back in the day, and I know we about to get out of here in a second, but I know you said back in the day when you would, ask for help or things like that, people wouldn't get it. I think that's a big way of showing people that you have fear, is that you're not gonna, you don't want to give them help or give them hints or tell them how to do this or tell them how to do this correctly or whatever. That shows that, you got that fear, like, well, maybe if I show them, they're going to overshadow me. You know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, Kurt is giving y'all information. He can put y'all on all day.
You can't replace my people. That's the thing about it, is like, I can tell you all that stuff, but I can't DJ like you. I can go get you can tell. They be like, all right, what do you use? What software you use? You can tell them all of that shit, and they can't do your mixing. And that's the difference. That's why I keep saying that we invested in the people. So I can tell you all the same. I can tell you what settings, what plugins, but you don't have my engineer's ear. So you ain't gonna do it. I can tell you all the shit that I do in the office, but you ain't gonna think about it the same way that I think about it. So it's about the people. And then the crazy part about it is when you ask about them DJs and stuff like that, people trying to skip over the people. The people is the key. The people is the relationships, and the people is the key. And you trying to do it without the people. You trying to do it with one person. And that shit, it's about 12 of y'all up here doing this shit. Everybody else trying to do their podcast or with one motherfucker shooting the camera, shooting the thing. And it don't work like that. You got to work with people to be able to do this shit.
Well, we appreciate the knowledge, man. We really do. I learned something today.
Yeah, man.
And I know everything.
This was good, man. It was great, man.
Yeah, I know we ain't talking about the studio. I don't ever talk about that. That's backdrop. It's the lessons that you can apply. You can apply that to anything that you're doing. You know what I mean? Just get some good people. Quit trying to rob and cheat people and go through the process.
Well, the studio is A1. Let me just throw that in there. The studio is A1. It's one of the top studios in Atlanta. $multi-million studio.
Yeah.
So if y'all ain't heard about it, if y'all need that real studio time, if you want your sound to come out crisp, come to Patchwork.
If you want your rear view mirror to shake and you feel it in your chest, then call us. If your shit ain't shaking that rear view, it just don't sound right, you need to come holler at us.
Right on.
You ain't doing it right. But that's what it is, man. Core DJ Wildchild DNA. We are 6-6 broadcast live from the legendary Patchwork Studio. And we're talking to the leader.
The man.
Kurt Daniel III, man. Appreciate you, brother.
Yes, sir. Appreciate y'all having me.